So to start off a little bit, I'll tell you a little bit of how this happened. I have been having issues with my cycles since as long as I can remember. I've been on birth control to control my cycle, and I was on it whenever I was younger to control acne. And I came off of it about 6 months ago, but I've had 8 cycles. And I came off of it because we wanted to see if I could regulate my cycle. And as a result from being on the birth control pill, I was on a lot of other medications to control my migraines, muscle spasms, high blood pressure, as well as a couple of other things. So we decided that it would be a good idea to stop taking my medication to try to stop all the rest of my medications and try to regulate my cycle on its own. Now, to help me along on that journey, I've been using an app called Kindara, and this is an app that you use to regulate your cycle, but you can customize it so you can really kind of follow anything. So I have everything from migraines, backaches, cramps, anything on this app, and when I am feeling that day, I will let the app know. And there's also notes, so if I say like I had a migraine and I think it was caused by this, I'll put that in my notes so I can go back and look at that later. So on this app, it tells you how long each of your cycles are if that's something you're recording. So my cycles since I've been off the pill have been 21 days, 28 days, 21 days, 29 days, 27 days, 24 days, 33 days, and now this cycle where now I am pregnant. Another thing that you can track is if you've taken pregnancy tests, ovulation tests, what your temperatures are each morning, and just really anything to do with your body. So I have been taking my temperature every morning, and that was to help me know if I was ovulating. Because my cycles are so irregular, I have no idea when my next period is going to be. So by taking ovulation tests and by taking my temperature, I can kind of see when that's going to happen, so I'm a little bit prepared when it does happen. On Monday the 18th, I decided to take a pregnancy test. My period was supposed to start the following day, but I was talking to my friend and I really wanted Taco Bell, and I've been trying to eat healthier to help regulate my cycle. So I said, if I'm not pregnant and if I get my period, I'm going to go get Taco Bell. So I thought, I'll take one. If it's negative, then I'm not pregnant and I'll go get Taco Bell for dinner. Well, lo and behold, there was a fine little line on this test, and I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I don't know if it's positive. It's really, really fine. I mean, it was really, really hard to see. So I called my friend and I said, hey, this might be a positive. What do I do? And of course she's like, well, I've never been pregnant. I've never taken one, so I don't really know. And we kind of discussed it, and I decided to go buy more tests from the store. So I got digital, and I got line tests, and I got everything I could think of, and I just started taking all of them, and they all turned out positive. I went to the mall, which is right down the street from me, and I went into the sports store, and I bought everything that is a baby item that has to do with the Minnesota Vikings. My husband loves the Minnesota Vikings. He loves football. All of his friends love football, so I know that that is going to be a large part of this child's life. So I bought everything Vikings that I could think of. I put it in a box with a pregnancy test, and then I gave it to him when he woke up. Now he works overnight, so he came home at 8 a.m., and then he really slept until maybe 7 or 8 o'clock in the afternoon, and he did not go to work that day. But he had a really terrible day at work that night, so this really made his day turn around. I told my best friend first. Obviously, I called her when it was positive, and so she was the first one to know. Then I told my husband that night. I waited 2 days to tell my sister and my parents, and that's because I go to dinner with my parents every Wednesday, and I found out on a Monday. So I told them on a Wednesday, and I told my mom several weeks ago that I forgot to give her a Christmas present, which was true. So when I got there, I gave her this gift that she thought was her Christmas present that I had forgotten to give her, but it really wasn't. I put a picture frame in a box, and it had a picture of me holding both of my dogs, and on one dog it had a 1, on one dog there was a number 2, and then on my belly there was a number 3. And so that is how I told her. Now, I know you're not supposed to tell people until you're 8 to 12 weeks. However, telling my parents and my sister was really important to me because I really don't trust my body to make it through this 9 months. I've had all these different medical problems, and I would hate for my parents to find out when I'm in the hospital if something goes wrong. Another reason is that my mother is a nurse, so if something does go wrong, I can always talk to her about it before I make any decisions. Now think about what other countries think of America. When you ask them to describe people in America, they usually think of really fat, lazy people who sit around and do nothing all day. That is literally the definition of where I live right now. Everybody in this area is either really, really lazy, morbidly obese, or they think that they should get everything for free. And it drives me crazy. So, because of that, I don't want this town's name on my child's birth certificate. I've heard horror stories about our hospital. My husband's mother had some children there and at Harrisburg, and I've heard horror stories with both of those. And I've had several friends that have gone there, and it's just, I have honestly not heard one positive thing about having a delivery in the hospital in this town. However, I live on the outskirts of Gettysburg, so I will take the extra 15-minute drive to get to that hospital. Now, this connects back to my mother. Like I said, my mother's a nurse, and she actually works for that medical organization. So I was able to ask her which doctor I should see, where I should go, who everybody likes, and that was really helpful whenever I was making my doctor's appointments. I'm not telling the rest of my family until 12 weeks, and this will be Easter. I will be 12 weeks and 4 days, I believe, when Easter is here. So we are going to tell Danny's side of the family then, and we'll tell them in the morning, and then my side of the family in the afternoon at dinner. I also coach a color guard team, and those girls and the 3 boys I have just mean the world to me, and it's going to be really hard to keep this a secret from them, especially because I'm dancing in tight clothes 3 days a week with them. So on the first weekend of April, we have our championships, and they're actually held at the high school in the town that I live in. Before they go on the floor, I'm going to tell them, hoping this improves their performance and not kind of lowers the quality of their performance because they're so excited. I don't want them to be overexcited about it and then not do well, but they really like having news like that, and they will be really excited. So my best friend is the other coach of this team, and then we have like an advisor, and she's one of the English teachers at the high school. And the girls are always asking us, who's having a kid first, who's next, do you want kids yet? Like, they are so antsy for us to have children that this news to them is just going to blow their minds. So I kind of have this weird thing going on with my doctor's appointments. I usually see a doctor in another state. I live right on the border of Pennsylvania, and I usually go see a doctor in Maryland for my OBGYN and all of that. But since I'm going to Gettysburg to have the baby, that's a really far drive, and so I don't want to see the doctor in Maryland, and then when I go to have the baby, all of the information about my pregnancy is not in the network. I have an appointment scheduled on Monday to see my actual doctor, but then in February I also have an appointment to see the doctor that will be in the network from that hospital I'm going to. I've called the doctor a couple times because I had an ovarian cyst that ruptured not too long ago, and I was worried about that, but I've also had problems with hormone levels, so I'm really worried about my estrogen and my progesterone levels being high or low or just not being right. So I want to have that checked out before I see the doctor at my 8-week appointment, but they won't see me any earlier than that. So I'm still keeping my appointment on Monday to see if they'll send me for blood work and just get everything checked out just to make sure that it's right. Because if something's wrong, I'm not making it to that 8-week appointment. So I think that's about it for now. I'm going to keep putting up weekly videos to track my progress, so follow along. Thanks. Bye.